never belongs to you. It's just your turn.
Rich guys and hot guys get cheated on like everybody else. You lost your edge, she lost attraction. That's how it works. Don't just give her your attention. Make her earn it.
What'd you think she was gonna do? Tell you she cheated?
Live from Philadelphia, your man, Donovan Sharpe.
What's up, guys? It's your man, Donovan Sharpe, and welcome to the 511th edition of TSR Primetime, your nightly dose of Red Pill truth, wisdom, and awareness. We are presented by Gorilla Mind Rush, the #1 supplement for focus, energy, and concentration on the market. It's actually sold out right now. That's how great it works. But they're going to be fully restocked on Monday, so not to worry, guys. Just a few more days before their supply is back to where it needs to be. It is Wednesday, September 18th, 2019. As always, we are streaming live to YouTube and Twitter, Periscope. So however you're watching, wherever you're watching from, thank you for making TSR Primetime a part of your nightly routine. Okay, let's get right to it. An ironclad truth that most men hear, most men who watch this show know, or that are well aware of, is that the hate is real among men. You guys know I have my share of haters from guys like B. Scott, who blows up my inbox every other week with a new email address telling me that I'm overly aggressive and come off as a cocky know-it-all. And by the way, he's right? From guys like him to guys like Tony, who told me he doesn't support bums because of this little dust-up. Did you eat the booty? I think Tony ate the booty. Tony, did you eat the booty? Like, for real. Like, listen, it's just me and you, man. Like, you can be honest with me. Right? It's just us. If you ate the booty, I'm not gonna, I mean, it's not something I would do. I'm just saying. Like you said, you got lucky, right? So you said you never touched her. Did you eat the booty? Yeah, that was a good time to be sure. And Tony got his little feelings hurt and called me a bum. Anyway, from guys like him, guys like B. Scott, to guys like Raymond Wood, who thought he could disrespect my girlfriend because he was a $10 patron, to all of the other haters I have on social media, there are a lot of men who hate on what I do. Now, to be fair to these guys, they're not the only ones out here who hate on guys like me, and I'm not the only guy they hate on. There are a lot of people who hate on other people who do better than they are doing. They hate on guys who make more money than they do. They hate on guys who are in better shape than they are. They hate on guys who have better looking women than they do. They hate on men who live better lives than they do. The list goes on and on. But the main reason, or really the reason these guys throw shade, isn't because of any given man's accomplishment, status, or lifestyle. No. The reason they hate on guys like me is because they admire what I do. They admire what I've accomplished. They admire what I have, but they know they're not willing to do what it takes to get what I've got. And here's the sad part. They could if they wanted to. There's nothing special about me, guys. There really isn't. The only difference between me and you guys is that I'm on this side of the camera. That's it. But if a man wants to live a life of dominance and live life on his own terms and control his environment, the first thing he has to do is decide to. Now, the second thing he has to do is start taking measures, the measures that are necessary to attain this kind of life. Now, fortunately for men, it's never too late to start living the life that you want. I found the red pill at 32 years old, which is a lot later than a lot of guys, than most guys I would think. But I was still able to reinvent myself into the man you see today here at the age of 42. Even if I had found the red pill at 37 years old, I'd still be kicking life's ass at 47. It's not quite the same, however, for women. You see, guys, there are also women out here who hate on women who live better lives than they do. They hate on women who are in solid relationships with men they love and respect. They hate on women who are still in great shape even though they have kids, and they hate on women who live better lives than they do. But here's the difference. At around 29, I would say 29, 30 years old, it's too late for women to recover. You see, gentlemen, by the time a woman hits 30, it is a lot harder to stay in shape if she hasn't developed healthy habits like eating right and exercising, and squash the bad habits like smoking, drinking, and riding the carousel. It's way too late. And if a woman cannot stay in shape, if she has bad habits, if she has a high body count, she cannot and will not be in a relationship of consequence with a man of value ever. Ever. So when they see other women living the lives they wish they could live, they throw shade. Kind of like how Aisha Curry catches shade. They say things like, I'll bet she's totally miserable being married to an oppressive, misogynistic dictator. No, she's not. She's happy, relaxed, and appreciative. Well, she probably eats rabbit food to stay thin. No, she doesn't. She eats clean, wholesome, home-cooked meals and works out regularly. Guys like B. Scott, Tony, and Raymond Wood would never admit out loud that they'd love to live the life that I live, right? They'll say out loud, Devin's not attractive, and guys who lift weights are douchebag gym bros, and I don't want to be like that. But deep down, they know they'd trade places with me tomorrow if they could. Well, it's the same with women. They can talk all they want to about how they'd never be happy in a relationship with a man who keeps her in line, handles his business, and treats her the way she deserves to be treated, which means rewarding the good and punishing the bad, not giving a woman something for nothing. But deep down, they know they would. They know that they would like, admire, and respect that. Feminists the world over hate seeing women who are in good relationships, not because they hate good relationships, but because they know they can't have one, which brings us to today's topic. TSR Hall of Shamer, gentlemen. Janelle Testa is at it again. She wrote an article entitled, I'm Painfully Single and Seeing Couples Everywhere is Killing Me. And for those of you who aren't familiar with Miss Testa, allow me to sort of give you a Reader's Digest on who and what she is. Janelle Testa is a feminist blogger who writes for bold.com, who happens to be on a slew of medications to make her feel better about the fact that she'll never be in a relationship with a man she respects and loves, who also happens to love her. Now, she got wind of the first article I broke down that she wrote and she went absolutely mental, as most women do, when you show your ability to see through their ridiculous jibber jabber and vocalize your lack of ignorance to their irrational assertions. So let's break this bad boy down and see what kind of nonsense Janelle is talking about this time. She says, quote, is it just me or are there Jesus fucking Christ, 2 sentences in and we've already got a typo. Bold.com clearly doesn't value punctuation because, God forbid, people actually take these chicks seriously, right? Anyway, let me not be a grammar artsy. Anyway, is it just me or are there couples everywhere you turn every time you walk out of the house? I feel like I can't escape them. They're everywhere. Seeing people who are seemingly happy together brings up a whole lot of feelings within me. I'm super emotional, she says, and seeing them drives me crazy. No, Miss Tess, that's not you. It's every woman over the age of 30 who are covered in tattoos, have magenta hair and bull rings, who've sport fucked their way through their 20s, and wonder why dudes only take you for a ride when you're the last girl at the bar if he has his beer goggles on. Banana gobblers used to be a rarity, guys. They really did. Now, these days in 2019, they're a dime a dozen. The problem is that these girls think that they're somehow special or unique because they have an unconventional tattoo or have rainbow-colored armpit hair. And just like B. Scott gets mad every time he sees me post a picture of doing things he wishes he could do, it drives Janelle crazy when she sees women living the life she wants but can't have. So let's go ahead and get started here. Number 1, they remind me how single I am. She continues, when I see 2 lovebirds all nuzzled up on each other in public, it is just a giant reminder for me that I don't have a person. I feel like there's a blinking sign over my head that reads, alone. Even if others don't see it, it's loud and bright enough to ruin how I'm feeling. I then ruminate on the fact that I've been single for a long time. What most men don't realize, guys, is that women, as I reach for some water here, is that women characterize and emote being single the same way they characterize and emote their ages, how old they are. A 22-year-old girl will gleefully tell you she's 22, and she'll do so with $1 million smile and a twinkle in her eye. She acts the same way when she tells you she's single. A 29-year-old will tell you she's 29, but not with quite as much zest or enthusiasm. Now, don't get me wrong, she still does have a little bit of pride because she is, after all, still in her 20s. And when she tells you she's single, her tone is still hopeful and maybe somewhat optimistic. But when a 35-year-old woman, a 35-year-old post-wall woman tells you her age, she may as well have told you that her cat died, because at that point, she knows it's over. She'll act the same way when she tells you she's single. Miss Testa, obsessing over the fact that she's single because she is obsessing over the fact that she's single because it's not so much fun anymore. You see, ladies, being single is great when you're 23 because you guys have the luxury of time and options. But both of those commodities dissipate in a hurry. And before you realize that you've had 3 abortions, 2 engagements, and a drinking problem, you wake up on your 38th birthday and you realize that you've been single into your late 30s, and that being single in your late 30s is not a good life. That blinking sign used to say strong and independent. Now it reads alone. Number 2. I'm self-pitying about being on my own. If it isn't clear already, she says, I don't like being by myself. Rather than letting it be what it is, not a big deal and totally natural, she puts in parenthesis, I turn it into a way to beat myself up. I become a self-pity machine, thinking that there has to be something hugely wrong with me. I expend all this energy on getting down on myself rather than spending it building myself up. Like most women, guys, Janelle is lying to herself and everyone else when she says that being by herself is not a big deal and totally natural. This is one of the many reasons why women suffer in silence, guys. They can't admit to the world that they need a man. The reason she's beating herself up is because her female hard drive is telling her that it is a big deal and that being alone is not totally natural. Men, on the other hand, have a completely different hard drive. We want women, sure, but we certainly don't need them. But women who think they can be like men in this regard, they always end up miserable because they can't be like men. Then she says she keeps thinking something's hugely wrong with her, as if to imply that she's perfectly fine, but that her conscience is giving her a false alarm. No, Miss Testa, that's not a false alarm. There are many things hugely wrong with you, and that's why your mind is signaling the alarm that tells you to panic, which you are absolutely doing right now. Number 4, and yes, I'm skipping number 3 again because Bold is getting into the dating coach business and using number 3 in all their articles to pitch the scam, which is essentially charging women to tell them exactly what all of these articles tell them to do for free. So let's just go ahead and go to number 4. Number 4, I start to think about my flaws. When I see a happy couple, she says, I reflect on my own life and wonder why I don't have someone. Then I start to feel like I'm fundamentally broken, like I have so many flaws that they're drowning me. I begin to think about how I'm probably too intense for most people and how I'm too much in general. All I focus on are my perceived flaws. Guys, this is the equivalent of a bitchy female telling herself that she's single because men are intimidated by her strong personality, when in actuality, men just can't stand her bitchy attitude. The reason this woman doesn't have someone is because she's overweight, she's covered in tattoos, and she's insufferable. Further, the flaws she has that are drowning her are the side effects that come with sleeping around. We talk about this all the time, guys. Entitlement, neuroticism, lack of self-awareness, lack of discipline, impulsiveness, bad decision-making, alcoholism, being depressed, being anxious, the list goes on. Men of value do not commit to women who have an inflated sense of sexual market value, are mentally unstable, who drink too much and make bad decisions on the fly. They don't do it. And when you look like Janelle, you tell men exactly who and what you are. Women like that aren't intense. They're damaged beyond repair, which is too much risk for any man with common sense to invest in. And listen, guys, listen, we can talk all the shit we want about girls with a bunch of tattoos and piercings, but listen, on the bright side, at least they make it easy for us to recognize that we shouldn't consider them for anything more than a one-night stand or maybe even a temporary friends with benefits arrangement. Number 5 is brought to you by my 5-part, 7-hour audio course on how to build a quality woman from the ground up. This is 7 hours of rock-solid intel on how to build a female brick by brick into the kind of woman you want, need, and even come to respect. Part 1 deals with the vetting process. I teach you how to select the right candidate by telling you what to look for and, more importantly, what not to look for in a woman. Part 2 deals with the training process. I take you step by step through the procedures that prepare a female for what it's like to be in a relationship with a man like you. I educate you on setting the tone early in order to reduce and possibly eliminate any and all behaviors that could potentially cause trouble in your relationship. In Part 3, I instruct you how to set and enforce boundaries and expectations. I teach you how to be direct when communicating your expectations in such a way that leaves absolutely nothing to interpretation. Part 4 covers the sexual side of your relationship. How to dominate her sexually, how you can make yourself unforgettable to her, even if you're not the most well-endowed lover she's ever been with, and the importance of deep conversion game to dominate her body and her mind will all be discussed extensively. And finally, part 5 will teach you how not to sabotage your relationship, how to maintain it, and what to do on the off chance that your woman gets out of line or out of pocket. Now, it is very important for you guys to understand that this course is based on personal experience. All right? I'm not giving you hypotheticals or theories, guys. These are techniques I use in my own relationship to this day. And anyone who follows me has seen that my techniques work, and they work well. Here's something else to consider. This ain't a cheat code or a magic bullet, guys. This course isn't a make a woman your submissive sex slave by using this one weird trick, or how to make any woman obey you with these 3 simple phrases. That's not what this is. So if that's what you're looking for, keep your money, because that's not what I'm offering here. To get your woman to look, act, and submit like my girlfriend, to submit like a woman she should, it takes time, it takes hard work, it takes consistency, and most of all, it takes a lot of maintenance. Now, if you're willing to do what's necessary to put yourself in the best position to have a rock-solid red pill relationship, go to donovansharpe.com/courses. That's donovansharpe.com/courses. I'm putting the link in the chat, and it is also in the description. And for a limited time, you are going to get 20% off the regular price. Just put in promo code QUALITY20. That is QUALITY20. That's all caps. Again, that is QUALITY20, QUALITY20 to get 20% off until this weekend. All right. Okay. All right. Let's go to number 5. Number 5. I feel lonely when I see them. She continues. A huge wave of loneliness falls over me when I see happy couples, especially when I'm out in public on a sunny day. I look around and it seems there are couples on every corner. My feeling of being totally alone just increases tenfold, even if I'm with friends or family. It's almost worse when I'm with other people, because then I feel alone in a crowded room. There's not much to say here, because she's not being dishonest or disingenuous. Chicks like this are lonely even when they're with friends or family, because they don't have a man. That's really all there is to it. Number 6, my jealousy begins to boil. I get mad at the people who are happy, she says, and feel like I could just scream. I start to judge them and get mean in my head. Ooh. Jealousy is a dangerous game, she says, because it can bring me down all kinds of mental rabbit holes. Then I'm internally rolling my eyes and saying, ugh. Gentlemen, this is what happens when a female understands that she will never have what other quality females have. Janelle wants to be happy, but she knows she'll never be happy. And because she knows it's too late for her, she hates the women who understood the concept of consolidating on a high-value male while their value was still high. And she's right, guys. Jealousy does bring her down all kinds of mental rabbit holes. She starts saying things in her head like, well, I'll bet she's miserable, or I'll bet she's unhappy. I'm glad I'm not her, which leads me to number 7. I always think couples are all super happy. The thing is that I have no idea what's going on in these couples' lives, she says. They could have unhappy and toxic relationships for all I know. I assume that everyone is happy except me, but who knows who's actually happy and who's not? Instead, I should probably assume that they're human like me and have their ups and downs. You see that, guys? You see that? The title of the article is I'm Painfully Single and Seeing Couples Everywhere is Killing Me. Well, why would it be killing her if she really thought these relationships were unhappy and toxic? Because she knows these women are happy, guys. Guys, women know when other women are truly happy in relationships. Just because a girl puts on a happy face around friends and family does not mean that the women around her buy her act. Okay? These women know when a woman is in a miserable relationship, regardless of the act or the happy face that she's putting on. Janelle sees all kinds of couples when she's out and about, and she can tell you the difference between the relationships that are good and the ones that are bad. It's the good ones that make her feel worthless. She doesn't even notice the bad ones, and this is why she's telling us that seeing couples everywhere is killing her. So in order to cope with the fact that she'll never be in a happy relationship, she tells herself, well, maybe all these people are unhappy and in toxic relationships. Maybe they just had a fight. Maybe they're super mad at each other. She does this all to make herself feel better about being single. But guess what? Depression and hopelessness isn't caused by speculation. It's not caused by hypotheticals or theories on what might be. Depression is caused by what is. And no matter how much Miss Testa tries to convince herself how miserable these couples might be, she knows they're better off than she is. Yes, couples certainly do have their ups and downs, but that's not what Janelle's situation is. She's lonely because she doesn't have a man to have ups and downs with in the first place. Number 8, my feelings are valid but not super rational. It's okay, she says, that I'm feeling all of these things. They're valid and they're allowed to be there. However, a wise person once told me that my feelings aren't facts. Just because I feel terribly alone doesn't mean I am. I can validate how I'm feeling and also acknowledge that these thoughts aren't serving me. They don't align with reality. Oh, sweet mother of God. And look, you know what, guys? I can't blame this girl for being this delusional, right? Like, I can't blame her for denying what's staring her right in the face. I mean, really, she's got to wake up every morning, right? Like, I get it. I get all that, but none of that negates the truth. So let's just take this from the top here. First off, it's okay to have feelings of hopelessness, depression, anxiety, and worthlessness. They are valid and they are allowed to be there because Janelle is all of these things. But the wise person who told her that feelings aren't facts was right. Facts don't give a fuck about your feelings, guys. But right after she acknowledges the validity of what this wise person told her, she literally contradicts it by telling us that just because she feels alone doesn't mean she is? Like, what is that? That's like me saying, well, Rollo Tomasi once told me that women never love men unconditionally. But just because I feel that Devin loves me conditionally doesn't mean she actually does. Like, for real? How ridiculous is this? Then she says that she can validate how she's feeling and also acknowledge that these thoughts aren't serving her and that they don't align with reality. So let's just make sure we're getting this straight. So what she's saying here is that even though she feels alone, worthless, depressed, and jealous, doesn't mean she actually is. That's not the reality. Oh, no. She actually believes that her feelings don't align with reality. She believes that her instincts telling her that the writing is on the wall about her life going forward are completely wrong and not rooted in reality or truth. Gentlemen, this is the best example of a female's entitlement monkey having sex with her rationalization hamster and giving birth to a spawn that manifests itself with ridiculous statements like this. I mean, holy shit, man. This chick is out there. Unbelievable. Number 9. I'm afraid I'm going to be alone forever. I genuinely worry, she says, that I'm never going to find someone I'm compatible with because I've had a history of messy relationships. I'm growing and learning to be a better me, but this doesn't stop me from thinking that no one will ever love me. She's starting to acknowledge the truth here, guys. That wise person who told her that facts aren't feelings probably indirectly told her that her history of messy relationships is going to cost her in the long run. And by the way, those messy relationships, those are the ones where she lied, cheated, deceived, had abortions, and did God knows what with God knows who. Messy means getting passed around, period. Yeah, she's learning to be a better person, but it is too late for her, and she knows it. That's why it doesn't stop her from thinking that no one will ever love her. I talked about this the last time I broke down one of her posts. Take a listen and watch. Number 9. I'm putting work into personal growth. I'm spending this time wisely, she says, really working on myself. I'm even in a relationship and sex 12-step program. Oh my God. I guess this was the result of the intervention her slutty friend staged. I'm examining my patterns, she continues, and trying to build a new thought process and actions around them. I'm bettering myself as a person through school, a sport, and being the best friend, daughter, sister I can be. This will all benefit me when I start seeing someone. Oh, now she wants to work on personal growth. Now she wants to not sleep with a guy 27 minutes after she meets him. She's in a 12-step program designed to try to reprogram her mind not to be a hoe. Here's a thought, right? How about working on personal growth when you're, 16, 17 years old, when you're at the dawn of your sexual prime rather than at the end of it? That way, you won't have to untrain yourself not to sleep around. The fact that this chick thinks that she can just work on herself and undo all the damage that's been done to her by sleeping around is laughable. The fact that she thinks it's actually going to increase her value, that's just sad, man. This woman actually believes that she can just take up a new sport, go back to school, and stop being selfish, and all of a sudden, men aren't going to see her for what she really is, which is just a receptacle with pink hair. She thinks this? Get out of here with that, man. Listen, this will all benefit me when I start seeing someone, she says, right? So she's not doing this because it's the right thing to do. She's not being non-promiscuous because she understands that it destroys her body, her mind, her soul, and her self-worth. She's not getting into shape and trying to better herself because it will benefit her. No, she's doing these things because she thinks it will get her a man, and she is dead wrong. Yeah, she will get plenty of offers, but again, those offers will be from men she is not interested in, sexually or otherwise, the older she gets. And finally, here we are at number 10. I'm saving myself for the right person. In the past, she says, when I was in a lot of relationships, I was with the wrong people. I dated people who weren't good for me. Now I know my worth and value of my time. She says, I refuse to give it to someone who doesn't deserve it. Instead, I'm staying single because I just haven't met that special someone yet. Gentlemen, how many times do we have to hear the same tired song before we realize all women are like that? What this woman is saying is what every woman says when she figures out that men who are worth a damn don't want her anymore. I see the error of my ways, and I now realize that I shouldn't sleep around. I now realize that bad boys, ex-cons, commitment phobes, and fuckboys weren't good for me. I now realize that Tinder wasn't really what I should have been doing. I now realize that I am worth more, and I will not give my body to just anybody. I will wait to have sex because I know I am worth more than just a one-night stand. Every single female, without exception, sings this same tune when they're in their early to mid-30s. Every one of them. It is getting boringly predictable. Yes, Janelle, you are 100% right. The bad boys were not good for you. That part you had right. But where you are wrong is that you are no longer worth more than a one-night stand. You see, everyone deserves you because everyone has had you. You're not staying single because you haven't met that special someone. You're not staying single by choice. You, Miss Testa, are now the female equivalent of an involuntary celibate. Men who are involuntary celibates, or we call them incels, okay? We call them involuntary celibates because they want to have sex but can't. Women don't want to have sex with them because they're not sexually attractive to women. Simple math. Well, you, Miss Testa, you're not exactly in the same boat. You're in a sinking boat. At least incels can lift weights, learn game, and save money. Incels are pathetic. Yes, let's not cast any false aspersions. But they can always turn it around if they decide to. You want a relationship, but you can't have one because men don't want to commit to you. The difference here is that you can't turn it around. No matter how much weight you lose, or how much, or how long you go without having sex, the damage that's sleeping around, the damage that's been done to your body, your mind, and your soul, that is permanent. Broken men can be repaired, Miss Testa. Broken women cannot. And unfortunately for you and women like you, you won't figure this out until you've been prescribed your third anti-anxiety medication. Number 10. I have a big desire for a relationship. All of this fear, sadness, and anger is coming from a soft place inside me that just wants to have a partner to love and be loved by. I've had this desire for as long as I can remember. I probably blame it on fairy tales as kids. I've always just had a yearning in my heart for another person. And let me go back to the breakdown here. Oh, all right. Got some production snafus here, guys. Forgive me. All right. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yes, this is bad radio. No, I don't give a damn. There we go. All right. I had to make sure that I had the right thing on the screen. Okay, so she has a big desire for a relationship. She's getting ever closer to acceptance, guys. She's getting ever closer to, like, she's now admitting that she wants a relationship with a man she loves and respects, and she's also admitting that she's been sold a bad bill of goods by Western culture in the form of fairy tales. Disney movies, romantic comedies, and every other kind of media that tells women that they can ride the carousel until they're 36, then bump into Bradley Cooper at the farmer's market and live happily ever after, even after he finds out about the tattoo of their ex on her ass, her 1 week fleeing in Spain with Emilio, Cristiano, Rodrigo, Carlos, Miguel, Javier, and Francisco. Long story, you're going to love it, I swear, she says. Her long list of exes that include a couple of porn stars, and her hilarious hijinks in Cabo that may or may not included a cocaine-fueled orgy with men who may or may not have been married to the women who may or may not have been married to her friends who came with her on this trip, that she can live happily ever after with these guys, and she'll just forget all of this stuff. It wasn't just the fairy tales, guys. It was her bad decisions. Yes, feminism certainly influences women, but we are all born with an inherent understanding of the difference between right and wrong. This is why women divide their body counts by 32 if you're ever dumb enough to ask her. They know it matters. They know it's wrong to be sleeping around. Number 11, I believe I have to make peace with being alone before I can be with someone else. Look, she says, I know all of this is a bit problematic, and I have some work to do. My main goal right now is to make peace with being alone. I genuinely don't think I can ever be happy with someone else unless I found happiness within myself. So much as couples drive me crazy, they're teaching me lessons and moving me along my path. You ain't fooling anyone here, baby girl. You have to make peace with being alone because you know you will end up alone. You know that you have no more chances. You know that the men you want no longer want you. So you're going to tell us that in order to be happy with someone else, you have to be happy being alone, and that ain't gonna happen because women are never happy when they're alone. This is why women are miserable, guys. A girl could be sleeping with a different guy every night. That girl is still lonely and miserable. Women need men. They don't want to admit it, but they know it's true, and this is why seeing couples everywhere drives Janelle crazy. The only lessons they're teaching her is that she'll never have what they have. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time.